Hello students, I'm going to give you a little bit of hint today on how to finish this project. So you and your partner are going to learn how to measure with the digital calipers and also how to draw your cell phone stand to the point where I'm going to leave you about halfway through the project. So the first thing you need to do is make sure your digital calipers are zeroed. If you don't see 0, 0, 0 or 0.01 when you squeeze on the jaws, then you're definitely not going to measure correctly because everything you measure will be off. Also, make sure you're not in inches and make sure you're in millimeters. So again, make sure you're zeroed and you're in the correct measurement. Your first step is to figure out what is the length from here to this end point down here. So what we're going to do is flip it over and we're going to measure with the calipers. So I'm going to put the calipers right here in the center of the cylinder. Here we go. And I'm going to hold it. Now this is where your partner could help you. And I'm going to come out a little bit more. And it looks like 115 millimeters. So we now know both arms are 115 millimeters. All right, next thing we need to know is what's the distance from here to here. So I'm going to gently push the top teeth in. And you can see that it's probably 105 millimeters. So that's good to know. Last thing we need to know is how thick this is. So I'm going to pull in the inside jaws, and I think 3.75 is a good number to go with. So now in Onshape, what we're going to do is sign in. All right. All right, now I'm signed into Onshape. I'm going to go create a new document. Call this cell phone stand project, and then your name, and I'm going to hit enter. Cell phone project. Here we go. Let me do something really quick since it grayed out. All right, there we go. Now immediately go to the top of the cube and left click on the top, and then bring your mouse over to where it says front. And what you're going to want to do is left click on the eyeball on front and left click on the eyeball on right. That will now make you only have one plane to look at, and it's easier. I'm going to left click on the top plane. You're going to left click on sketch, left click, bring your mouse inside the top plane and left click. You should see sketch 1. So we know the arm is 115 millimeters. So we're going to take a line tool and we're going to left click on the origin when we see that this is tangent to the origin. Left click and then bring your mouse down and left click. Now we have a problem. This is in inches. So you need to go back to the 3 lines in the top, change your workspace units to millimeters. So you're going to left click on inches to left click on millimeters and hit check. Now anytime you want to work back on this sketch, go over to the menu and right click and say edit. Now we're back in the edit mode. You're going to left click on dimension, left click on the line and bring your mouse out to the left and left click. Type in the number 115 and hit enter. So now we have 115. Now what we're going to do is then come back to our line tool, left click on it, should be gray, left click on the origin when we see the tangent symbol, and bring our mouse out to the right and click. Immediately type 115 and hit enter without touching another button. Now what we're going to do is right click escape line, and in order to keep these lines where they are and not have everything shift, I'm going to draw another line in the middle. I'm going to left click and I'm going to come down and make sure I have a straight line and I left click. I'm going to right click escape. I'm going to go to the dimension tool and I'm going to left click on the center line and left click on this arm and bring the mouse down and left click. I'm going to go ahead and type the number 30 and hit enter and see it slightly move the arm out. All right, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to left click on the center line, left click on the outside line, bring down my degrees and left click and type in 30 and hit enter. Now you can see that I've got the arms adjusted. What we need to know is what is the distance currently from this dot to this dot. So I'm going to left click on this dot and left click on this dot and come down and left click. Then immediately bring your mouse up and right click and escape. We do not ever want to touch that number. So we're going to come to the degrees and I'm going to change it to 27 and hit enter. And 27 and hit enter. So I'm at a 104.418. So I'm very close to the 105 millimeter distance I measured earlier. So I'm going to go 27.15, hit enter, and I'm going to go 27.15 and hit enter, and I'm very, very close to the 105. I'm okay with that. Now what I'm going to do is I don't need this line anymore, so I'm going to go to the scissor tool and left click on it and delete it. I'm going to right click escape. Now I measured it in the camera to be 3.75 millimeters thick. So all you have to do is go to your line tool, and then right here on the dot, you're going to follow this line when you click. So I'm going to left click and follow this line. Notice it shows you the right angle symbol. That means it's 90 degrees when you're right here. And I'm going to left click and immediately type 3.75 and hit enter. I'm going to right click escape. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to left click on this dot, follow this line and left click and type 3.75, hit enter. Now stay in the line tool. Make sure you are parallel. You see how it automatically highlights the line telling you are parallel? Keep that. Go all the way up until you see the dotted yellow lines that tell you are perfectly in line with the origin going straight up. And I'm going to left click. Then I'm just going to bring down my line and connect it with this endpoint and click. Now I have a solid shape. I'm going to right click, escape the line, and go extrude in the top left corner. And now I need to determine the height of the cell phone stand. So I'm going to go back here and take a look at the camera. So what you're going to do is find the highest point, which is right here. So you need to measure what the height is from here to here. So all I'm going to do is take the calipers, move them out, and it looks like 32 millimeters is a good number to go with. So now what I'm going to do is go back in the program, and now I know to extrude to 32 millimeters, hit enter, and then hit check. Now the last part of the project is you have to trace and measure at every endpoint and draw the cell phone stand arms on this side, and you got to do the same process on this side. Now one little caveat or twist. After you draw on the outside, you actually have to do a new sketch on the inside and use the use tool to project the lines here, and you want to extrude outward. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you on one side and go halfway through the project so you can be ready to do it on your own. So I'm going to go sketch, click on the face on the outside, and you can see I'm now drawing on the outside of the cell phone stand. So now what I need to do is go back to the cell phone stand and figure out, okay, where is the height of this point on this face, and where is the distance from this point to the end point? So let's get those measurements. The first thing I'm going to measure is the distance. All right, so let's go here. Let's put our digital calipers right about here in the center of that cylinder. Bring it all the way out, and then bring it up to that face. And it looks like not that, because I'm not in the center. Hold the phone. Here we go. 105 millimeters looks perfect. See how I'm in the center of the cylinder and I'm on the edge of the face of that? So now I'm going to go into the program, and I'm going to go to the line tool, and I'm going to left click on the bottom point and bring it up and just left click. Then immediately draw a straight line all the way across and left click on that line. Now go to your dimensions, left click on this line and left click, and then say this needs to be 105 and hit enter. Now that brought that in. Now what I need to do is go to my scissors tool, left click on the scissor tool and left click on this line and get rid of it. So we just used that line to pull the line where we want it to go. Now I'm going to draw another line. So I'm going to left click, go straight down, make sure it's straight down. You got that symbol and it's tangent on the bottom line, and left click. And what we're going to do is figure out the height now. So I'm going to go back in the video and I'm going to measure the height. And simply just do this. And the height should be, looks like 24 millimeters is a good number to use, because I'm going to round up. So I'm going to go back in the program and type in 24 and hit enter. I'm going to right click escape, and now I've got that line up where I want it. Now what I need to do is figure out what's the distance this way. So what I'm going to do now is draw a line, left click on this dot, go straight and click. It's a straight line. Now I'm going to go back in the camera and figure out what's the length of that line. looks like 12.5 millimeters is a good measurement. So here we go. I'm going to type in 12.5 and hit enter. So now I've got that line. Now what I'm going to do, and this is important, I'm going to touch this line and bring it back. It's parallel. I'm going to left click. I need to know how long that line needs to be. So to do that, I'm simply going to visually measure and figure out that distance. And it looks like 10 millimeters is a good number to go with. So I'm going to go ahead. I've already clicked, so I'm going to type in 10 and hit enter. Now what I'm going to do is right click escape line, and I'm going to clean up some of this. I can go to my scissor tool and left click on this line and get rid of that. So you can see we're already making that front piece of that arm look right. Now I'm going to draw a straight line across like so, and I'm going to left click. Go back into the video, all right? Let's figure out with the inside teeth what that dimension is. So it looks like 13.5 millimeters will work. Now this is important. If your phone doesn't fit here because of the case, make this line longer so your cell phone can fit in here and measure it with the calipers. So here we go. I'm going to go back in the program. I'm going to type in 13.5 and hit enter. And then looking at the cell phone stand, you can see that these lines look parallel. That line and that line look parallel. This line and this line are parallel. This line and this line is parallel. Everything's parallel. So that's easy. So now all you have to do is match up with this line, bring it over till it clicks and tells you it's parallel, and come all the way to the top and left click when it's tangent. Now we're almost done. I'm not going to show you how to do the inside one. That's on you. But what I am going to do is show you how to come over to here and find the height of the end of the cell phone stand and make a line there and then finish it. So I'm going to right click escape line, and let's figure out what the height is over here. So I'm going to go back in the program. I'm going to find the height of the bottom part, and it's 20 millimeters. Easy peasy. So now what you're going to do is draw a line down here in the bottom left corner and go straight up following that line and making it tangent, and type in 20 after you left click, and there's our height. And then I'm going to trace a line all the way to that end point and left click. So now this kind of already looks like the face, except you're missing this, and I'm not going to show you how to do that. That's on you and your partner, and you have to finish the other side as well. But I will show you this. Now, you can, after drawing that line, draw another line, and I'm just making this up. And see how I'm doing this? I'm not even doing it right. And then I made the outline there. I can take the scissor tool now and get rid of this. Okay? This is wrong. Please do not do what I just did. And then I'm going to hit the check box and finish that sketch. Now on the inside wall, you're going to rotate and go sketch and left click on that inside face. And now what you can do is go next to the letter A to the use tool and left click on it, and then left click on each line as it highlights yellow. And now you can see I'm retracing everything I did on the outside wall on the inside wall. Now if you don't get the line, make sure you click it because I messed up. Hit check, and now what you can do is left click on each one of these faces on the top, and do not click down here, and hit extrude in the top left and say remove. And you can see it removed everything, and hit check. You will immediately do the same process on this face, draw it, then you're going to project it on a new sketch right here, extrude outward, and then after you do that, you're going to come up to this top piece, and it's simple. You're going to click on the top of this piece, left click, and go extrude, and then you're going to go remove, and then you're going to say up to face. Well, actually, we know the number, excuse me. Go blind, and you're going to type in 20 and hit enter. And that will put that down exactly where you want it. Okay? Now, I didn't finish the sketch, so please understand that's going to look different, okay? What you'll see when you do this is that this will come down further after you extrude it. So I'm going to go back. All right? Now, what you're going to want to do is make sure you and your partner accurately measure these endpoints and find out where they need to go so you can do what you need to do. Another trick, by the way, let me do this since I didn't finish it. I'm going to left click here on this face and go extrude, remove, and then I can always go up to face and left click right here. And it will put it exactly the way you want to put that face down, okay? So that's probably the better way to do it than doing the 20 on the blind. So I apologize for doing that. And then hit check. On the back side, the last thing you need to do is, let me get this oriented right, is draw a cylinder right here. So you're going to go sketch, left click on this face. You're going to draw a line from the origin straight down to the bottom and left click. You're going to go to your dot tool next to the letter A and trace this line until you see the midpoint and left click. You're then going to go to your circle tool, left click on that dot, and start building a circle. Now you need to know what the dimensions of that circle is, the radius. So we're going to go back to the camera, and all you have to do is take your digital calipers and put them around the cylinder. I'm not going to do it. It'll tell you the diameter when you clamp down on it like you do here on the face. But I'm going to make one up in the program just for the purpose of showing you. I'm going to click extrude. Now it's going the wrong way. All you have to do is click on this arrow to put it the other way. And then what you're going to do is then go blind. You're going to go check up to face, and you're going to left click on this face, and it should look great. Okay? Now I didn't dimension it. So if you want to dimension it, that's very simple. All you have to do is this. All you have to do is take your dimension tool, left click on the line, and you can type in a dimension. 15 is not the right dimension. Okay, so please do not do that. And I'm extruding it. And then I'm going to go up to face, and I click on the face, and I hit check. All right. Good luck on your project. I hope this was a helpful video.